How's it going, everybody? Uh, so someone brought in a Ford Expedition. I can't remember the year. I want to say mid 2000s. Into the shop. Well, it was towed in and brought into our um, parking lot. Now it came in the back of a tow truck, and the rear wheels were on dollies. And I didn't think much of it at the time, but when I looked outside, this was yesterday, when I finally looked outside and was paying close attention, what I saw was the left rear, so the driver's side rear wheel was completely cockeyed. I would say all around, not quite 45 degrees, collapsed in towards the vehicle. But that, was leaning that way. And right away, we're like, okay, is it broken control arm? Is it bearing? Is it what? So I took a floor jack, went out, gone around the back of the vehicle, lifted it up in the air, and I'm going to post that video of what that looks like in a little bit after this. But here's the deal. What ended up happening was the bearing was completely shot. And I mean gone. There's not even anything left. The hub that holds the bearing is worn. The axle that went through the bearing, it was rubbing against the hub. The only thing holding the wheel up was the caliper, the bridge for the caliper itself off of the knuckle, and that's it. That was the only thing that holding that whole thing even remotely up. And so what I called it for was a CV shaft, because that's broken. The bearing, obviously, the bearing hub, both control arms, calipers, pads, and rotors. And when we open it up, there might be other things in there as well. The gentleman, and we've come across this a few times, the gentleman didn't want to pay more than $1,000 just to get it back on the road. And it was very hard and difficult for our guys in the shop, our manager, to explain to him that $1,000 isn't going to cover it. It's not even remotely covering it. So here it poses one of the greater dilemmas mechanics go through. Do we accept the work and try and make it work for $1,000, or do we get rid of the vehicle and just tell them sorry, take it elsewhere? And he was pretty stubborn about it. And our result was tell him thank you, no thank you, please take it elsewhere. There's no way that we can replace all of those parts, even used, for $1,000 and do an alignment. We got to figure out how to even get the vehicle in the shop. I'm sure we can come up with a wheel dolly somewhere and then try and drive it in. I'm not sure. But yeah, we just said thank you, no thank you. It is not worth it for us to even remotely try and pull that apart. And, once you get it apart, you probably won't get it back together again. And then say, yeah, it's going to be more than $1,000, but here are all your pieces. So again, it's a choice. Do we take the work or not? And in this case, said no, thank you. It's not worth it. So keep that in mind. There are times when a vehicle is so far gone that unless you fix it properly, and let's be clear, the guy is somewhat cheap, frugal. I get it if you're on a budget. I fully get it. But being on a budget and spending very little on your vehicle is what got him to that place in the first place. Most likely. I can't say that 100%, but most likely that's what got him there in the first place, is not doing the proper maintenance, because very rarely does a wheel collapse like that. So anyways, I thought I'd bring it to your guys' attention. It's been a pain. So um, if you do have any ideas, thoughts, or comments, please let me know, and I will talk to you guys soon.